Hi everyone, my name is Patrick. I'm the founder of Patrick J. Clayton Productions, and welcome to my studio. Today we're here with the glamorous Nick Sizemore. He's my creative director, and we are going to chat candyboards because I love sugar and Nick loves color. So it's like a perfect marriage.
I feel like everyone loves candy and colors, and if you don't, you're just a monster.
You're just a monster. Let's get started.
So I think first we can just kind of start by describing the quintessential, most kind of like iconic composition for a candy board. This particular example, we've kind of decorated in a monochromatic vibe, which would be great for maybe a bachelorette party, but also for just people that are obsessed with pink, which is me, so I'm not gonna lie, this is really speaking to me.
You hated this project.
I mean, it was literally painful. The best way to start with your classic candy board is really kind of mirroring a charcuterie board. So really kind of thinking about different heights and composition. So typically you'd have jams or honey on a charcuterie board. Here we've kind of added some height. It's great to fill those containers with smaller candies that might
roll off the table.
Roll off the table.
I love here too how we've used like a wood board. There's a glass vessel. There's kind of a metallic. I guess that's rose gold. Mm-hmm. Oh, so it rolls off.
And that will happen. The best thing too is to have a lot of contrast. Just like on your meat and cheese board, you want to make sure your candies are really dynamic. So you want to have things that are salty. We have Jordan almonds here. Some really sugary sweets like gumballs or maybe even gummies. Also some sugar covered candies is great. So something like a Sour Patch Kid or like these really adorable little hippos. And then having some wrapped candy, which could be matte wrapped like the Tootsie Rolls or even the foil wrapped. Just again, trying to add a lot of contrast and a lot of composition to that.
Flamingos.
Patrick does eat the candy most of the time during this, which makes building these very difficult. So maybe a host tip is build your candy board first before consuming most of it before your guests arrive.
But if you pay for it, you can eat it whenever you want.
Valid. Which actually is a good point. One of the best rules I have about a quintessential candy board is pick your favorite candy. Because at the end of the day, like your guests probably aren't going to eat it all and you're going to have it left at your home. So make sure it's stuff that you love that you'll be able to enjoy post-party or even the next day. Or, if you're crazy candy lovers like us, you'll just make one at home for yourself on a Friday night and just watch Lifetime.
Because that's great. Tell us about these other candy boards.
Right, so these are kind of all variations of a classic candy board. So here we have a great one, which is more of a vertical composition as opposed to a horizontal composition. And another good example of like playing into a theme. So this one's obviously baseball. Patrick is really in love with the Yankees, so this was like a no-brainer for us.
Not anymore. Huh.
Well, it was a rough
year.
Season. Touchdown. No?
Candy.
Baseball.
Baseball candy.
Baseball candy. Some really great novelty things always makes these really, really interesting. So these are little gummy hot dogs, little gummy hamburgers are really fun things for people to grab onto. Loose bubble gum is always great. Again, mixing the salty and sweet. So we have sunflower seeds here, and we have peanuts, wrapped chocolates again. Same kind of idea as the pink, but really playing within a theme.
This is fun for like, it's a big board, it's tall, like if it's an all-day party, game day, whatever theme it is, there's tons of stuff there. And even like the sunflower seeds, the nuts, if someone's not a sweet person, there's really great choices there.
Yeah, lots of variety. And you want to make sure all of your guests are able to kind of at least enjoy something and have a little bit of snack for themselves that kind of fits into their flavor profile that they're preference to.
Great.
This is a great showstopper. So this again, takes a bunch of different kinds of candy in a large amount. I guess a rule of thumb here would be, it takes more candy than you think it does to make a candy board like this. So buy a little extra. If you want to buy a bunch of variety packs, this is a great way to kind of buy a bunch of different kinds of candy in bulk bags that you can then divide by color for a really big impact. So
you could have your kids separate it all out because it takes a minute.
Tiny hands with tiny candy. This is your Instagram board. This is the one all of your guests are going to take photos of. This is kind of your showstopper. And the bigger the better here. Again,
what's fun about this is it's rainbow and beautiful and photogenic, but then it's all the different flavors too.
Yeah.
So if there's a particular flavor you're looking for, it's definitely on the board.
Thanks. Another example is if you have a friend who you know loves a certain type of candy. Let's say they love M&Ms or they love gummy bears. Like doing one candy in a ton of different colorways is another way to make a big impact on a candy board. So here we have gummy bears. We kind of lovingly call this our gummy bear pizza because it kind of looks like cute little slices.
This took like 2 minutes to make, or
only two. I mean, super quick.
2 hours or minutes?
An eternity.
An eternity.
Really.
But big bang for your buck.
Big bang for your buck.
Awesome.
And also very inexpensive because you can buy a giant bag of gummy bears with multiple colors in it and be able to arrange them in like a really fun.
And this is one too that it's fun to take kind of as a hostess gift or something. Like this could sit on the end table during a party. It's not the main event. This is probably the main event for like a fun brunch or something.
Yeah.
Where lots of it's going to get eaten, but something, you can do a really tiny, fun story around a little board.
Totally.
What are we making here?
So within kind of staying in the theme of seasonal elements too, we wanted to kind of show you how to make an actual kind of traditional candy board. And Halloween is right around the corner, which we're super excited about. And also a huge candy holiday. Easter and Halloween are your two most kind of candy-driven holidays. Nice. So we've kind of started the base here for you. So the very first thing you want to do is place in your larger compositional elements. So here we have some really amazing peeps that are in the shapes of different monsters and ghouls and pumpkins. They kind of take up a lot of space and they build a foundation for you to add candy on top of. Adding in your saltier layer next, again, kind of creating a little bit of movement is here. So we have some chocolate covered pretzels and some Reese cups that, again, add a little bit of space and composition.
Nice.
I like to kind of prearrange my candy a little bit by kind of section. So I kind of know what I'm working with. I know about how much I have, which will determine where it's placed and how much of it is placed. Sometimes candy can come a little bit damaged, which is like a fun tip, but all of these candy corns, I will not shame the candy company that sent these to us.
They still taste good.
But they taste delicious, and they're grape flavored.
These are good.
These are good.
These are good.
These are really. I'm sorry, okay, fine, lean in, right?
Lean in. Eat the broken ones.
Eat the broken ones. No, seriously, take the broken ones first, and you can start by making a tiny pile of those, and then you can cover those up with the whole ones.
With the 4 pretty ones.
With the 4 pretty ones we received. It's a really nice trick to kind of, again, fill the candy board, make a base, but also have the nicer ones on the top for that nice photo when people walk in. If you're also crazy like me, you can get some baking decorating utensils, also known as tweezers, for some very strategically placed candy corns on the top of your piles.
I would have eaten them all before I got out tweezers. So yeah, just dump is fine too.
Just dump is fine. So first I'm going to place the color because the color is going to be the most balance I'm going to care about. So we have purple candy corns. We also have some purple jelly beans. So I'm going to make some tiny piles of those. I'm going to leverage the larger pieces in here to use them as a base. So kind of leaning against those. As you can see, this is kind of rolling away.
You won't do this on an angle, so it'll be fine.
Right. Generally, no. Maybe to build some support around that, what we'll do first is kind of place some of the other larger pieces. So we have some foil wrapped candy here, which is a really nice contrast to the chocolate and salty, but also adds like some nice color and graphic interest to the board as well.
Shiny metal wrapper is great too.
Yeah, super great. So this just goes around. And again, I like things in odd numbers and threes, so I'm making little piles of threes, one here, and I'll probably do one over here, which will just add like a nice triangular effect within the circular board to kind of make sure there's some sense of balance. As you can see, I have a triangle here and I'm making an opposite triangle here, which is really nice. What's your favorite Halloween candy?
Oh gosh. Is it terrible if I say Snickers?
No.
Like
at all.
I'm or anything with like sugar or like
So all candy.
all candy. I love gummies and I love Snickers.
Gummies are great.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about like prank candy?
No.
Never?
Mean.
Those bamboozled jelly beans that like taste like farts and boogers.
Oh. Well, is that joke candy or is that like masochism?
Oh, I mean, there's a fine line.
There's a fine line.
There's a fine line.
No, I would never want to offer some. If they did it to themselves, fine. If you're like testing, like, ooh, is this going to be gross? But you want to give candy to a friend, like, I don't know, it should taste delicious.
It should be great, right? I am gonna lie, this is a little more difficult on an angle. Your candy will not kind of roll around like this. But as you can see, just kind of evenly spacing again some of the color around. So the orange is pretty bold as well. So I'm just kind of making sure that those elements are evenly spaced throughout.
It's quintessential Halloween pumpkin.
Yep.
No one knows what they are, but we've all eaten them for like 40 years.
Exactly. Another trick here too. I had lots of pumpkins, but I only have a little handful of candy corns. So I'm going to place all the pumpkins in first, and then I'm going to sprinkle some of these candy corns just on top, which is just going to add a little bit of dash of that yellow, which is really great. So again, work with what you have. Don't feel like you have to like truly measure out or fully understand the composition of your board before you start. You can do little cheats and tricks like this that will very easily kind of fill your space up.
Ooh, are those gummies?
Oh yes,
Right
thank you. But also, the main event, sorry. These gummies are little brains and little eyes, which are so great.
Fingers and bones.
And fingers and bones. I feel like there's a song in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So again, really, really fun. Novelty candy always goes a long way. It really, really adds a lot of interest to the board. Conversational pieces are always great. People like to take photos with them.
Is this something like if you're gonna make this and take it to a friend, the tray with the edge on it is great. Also putting plastic wrap over it to take it, you know, and then if you need to when you get there, you can add like the last final couple of things for the host. Don't make them do it.
I've always found too, like sometimes I make the candy board when I get there. People love to watch it being assembled. Like I will bring everything in bags, bring my candy board, and again, do it for the host. Like you're there to kind of support and to bring something that's pre-made. But I found sometimes doing it in front of people will ultimately really, really help out.
Kind of a good conversation.
Yeah. I think you get the general idea.
Yeah,
Again, you would kind of
great.
fill in with the rest of the pieces, but that is a general composition of a candy board.
Awesome.
And thanks so much for having me.
Thank
today.
you. Good luck with your candy boards and have a great party.